When we have inquiries from groups like Stormont Vail, it starts a series of conversations. And the first one is maybe on the phone. You get a sense of the other organization. We do background checks to get some broad information. We then usually have a face-to-face meeting, and I came down here probably last July or so to meet with a number of the leaders and the staff. And by then you start to realize that there's some chemistry there. Are we culturally alike? From that point, if both sides say, we think this could work, we go into a due diligence process. And it's a very deep examination of the organization's, everything about the organization. We look at their quality information, safety information. It's lots of different data points that we collect. Internal to Mayo Clinic, we go through a 4-stage approval process. Both before we go into due diligence and then after we complete it, and we put everything together, which demonstrates the quality of the organization. So it's a long process, and it's a lot of effort on the part of the organization to collect all of that information.
The idea is, if I'm presented as a physician seeing a patient in the clinic with a clinical problem, a clinical issue that I haven't seen it in a while, or I don't really have a lot of experience with this, that I can actually put into my electronic medical record, right where I'm sitting there, and talk to the patient about it, and order a consult. And it's called an e-consult, or electronic Mayo consult. And essentially what I then put into the system is it'll have some different areas where, okay, number one is what question are you asking? What's the clinical situation? What's the clinical problem? What do you specifically want to answer? Does the patient require this or that, etc.? And then another part of that whole process in the same fields is to then basically put in there, okay, I have a clinical note I'm creating today after I'm seeing the patient, so load that into the system. I have some images that we did here at Cotton O'Neill Heart Center. As cardiologists, we do a lot of imaging, so an echocardiogram. Okay, let's load those images into the portal. Other notes from other consultants that I've already seen the patient, and then basically click submit, and it gets loaded into our back-end system. And that's where Dr. Marbles and the information technology team really come into play, because what they do is they then see my electronic consult come
Thanks for coming.
They'll
Nice to meet you.
talk with our
Congratulations.
imaging area and get those images loaded up, and get the other notes and put it all together. And essentially then once that's all bundled up, they will send that into the electronic portal system at Mayo Clinic. And once Mayo Clinic receives all that information, they will, through their algorithms and through their processes, determine which specialist physician on their staff would be best qualified and able to answer that question. So that gets pulled into their system. That physician pulls up all the information, looks at all the images, and then essentially provides the consult like we would do here for any other colleague. And once they create a note, either they dictate it or they type it together, and that is then sent back to our system through their portal, and it comes up to me as the end user initiating the consult as a PDF file, and it basically is a consult note. And then once we have that information, then we can use that in the particular patient I was referring to, getting together with that patient and then reviewing the findings of this specialist at Mayo Clinic and saying, well, here are the options, and here's kind of what is suggested and advised by them, and let's see, let's work together, and do we agree that are they comfortable with those recommendations and such. And all those things can be done here then at Stormont Vail and the Cotton O'Neill Clinic. So the whole idea is to have that added layer, extending our already firmly based expertise here, but extending it even further so we can bring that Mayo Clinic expertise right here locally to Topeka and to improve the care that we give our patients. And so they don't need to travel hundreds of miles and the expense and stay up there. For something basically we can get the same type of consult here now and offer that to them.